Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome back to another Sims 4 speedrunning video, or welcome to the channel if you are new here. So in today's video I'm going to be building in the world of Evergreen Harbour, which is the world that we got from the expansion pack The Sims 4 Eco Lifestyle, and I'm going to be building in the more modernised version of the world, and I'm going to be building a big eco-friendly modern family home. So this house has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and it's built on a 30 by 20 lot, and I basically came to the realisation recently that I have never built, you know, them really sustainable houses, you know, houses that will recycle their water, they'll catch the rainfall, they'll recycle the water, they'll have like solar panels and, you know, like a really good house for the environment, put it that way. Realised I've never built one, and I thought it would be really fun to give it a go, and so that's exactly what I did. Now, like I've mentioned, this house has 3 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms. It's not for my save file, it's just something that I purely wanted to build, although I was kind of gutted that I can't make it for my save, because I basically, if you're not aware of my save file, I'm rebuilding the whole of The Sims 4, if you want to put it in blunt terms, and with doing that I'm redoing every single house, every single community lot, and I'm also redoing the world of Evergreen Harbour. But like I mentioned, I'm building in the more modernised version of the world, and I don't want to like modernise it for my save file because I don't want to take that gameplay element away from my save. It's like, you know, the Strangeville game pack in the world of Strangeville, you know, when you play through the mystery and like you play through like the, I don't want to spoil it just in case you ain't done it, but you know the Strangeville is kind of a little bit of a playthrough, that game pack. I wouldn't want to complete it and then release my save file and then already have it completed. I think you can do it again in the same save, but I think it might be a bit different, I'm not too sure, but either way, I'm not going to be upgrading the world of Evergreen Harbour for my save. It's going to remain in its original grubby, messy, just bit of a rank state, you know, there's rubbish everywhere, it's a bit... It's not the cleanest environment, let's put it that way, but I still really wanted to sit down and build something really eco-friendly and really try and utilise a lot of the eco lifestyle expansion pack items, because I realised where I haven't really ever built an eco house, or like really, you know, something, a house that is very sustainable. It's got the little wind turbines. This house has a wind turbine. Honestly, never thought I would see the day that I put a wind turbine on a house, but I mean, I've done it now. But it's also got solar panels. It's also got like the little rain collector, so when it rains in game, your Sims can collect the water and kind of like recycle the water, and I don't know how it works, but it works some way in the game. And then there is also another object which I'm not sure what it's called. I think it's called the fabricator. There's also like a little office for someone that could be in the eco lifestyle career in this house. I basically just wanted to build the house using a lot of different items from the eco lifestyle expansion pack that I haven't really used before, because, well, I mean, I've never really built a house for a sim that I designed to be in the civil designer career, which, by the way, the civil designer career came with the eco lifestyle expansion pack, if you're not familiar with it. And also, if you're not familiar, the way that you can upgrade the world, you can do it a number of different ways. To be honest, I just cheated. I know the gameplay is very... Basically, I've done it. Once you've done it once or twice, it's a bit long-winded to do it every single time. And so the way that you upgrade the world is basically... the way that you're meant to, let's start with that one. The way that you're meant to, and the way that the expansion pack was kind of created, is you join the civil designer career, and then eventually you get to a certain level, and then once you're in a certain branch, you can then go ahead and then modernise the world, make it a lot, you know, eco-friendly, make it a nicer place to live, improve the environment. You can also vote on neighbourhood action plans. You know that little board? You might be able to see it at some points when I'm spinning the camera around, when I'm just, you know, going out the exterior and like finishing it up and stuff. There is a little board that glows. You click on that and you can vote for what kind of thing you want to happen in the neighbourhood. If I'm being honest, I ain't used that in a while. Does anyone still use it? I feel like when Eco Lifestyle first came out, I was on that. I loved it. Nowadays, I forget about it. And then half the time, I say half the time, it's just a figure of speech. It's the majority of the time in my current household, the one that I play with off camera, the current neighbourhood plan is the one that is, I think it's called We Wear Bags, or so along the lines of that. It's basically where Sims in the neighbourhood will just put a bag on their head and walk around, and just that's just their look for the next like little while. It's a bit strange, that one, but you know, you do you. But that is one of the ways that you can change the world. I think with that one though, you can only clean it up off memory. I don't think you can fully upgrade it. I think to get it fully upgraded and to modernise it completely, you do have to be in the career. Or if you don't want to faff with that, do what I did. You can just cheat it. Now, I have the UI Cheats mod installed into my game, which if you haven't got the UI Cheats mod installed, I can't play without it. Honestly, can't play without it. But with the UI Cheats mod installed, I basically just click on the little board and then I can just cheat up that way. Or if you don't want to play with mods or CC in your game, you can just enter a cheat into the console, I believe, off memory. You know, when you press Shift Control C and then you normally type in Motherload, I'm pretty sure there's a few cheats that you can enter into that will upgrade it as well. If there is some, I'll Google. I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, so I might be able to find it quite easily, but I'll do a quick Google after I finish this voiceover, and then if I found some cheats for you, I'll pop them in the description box down below. But anyway, getting on and actually talking about what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I'm just going around and landscaping this whole entire house. Now, this lot, I'm not joking, probably one of my favourite lots to build on in the game. Weird one to say because it's just it's an awkward shape 30 by 20. But do you know what I really like about it? The terrain. Like the terrain paint on this lot. Can you see it? Like the little stones on like immersed in between with the grass. It is so pretty and it's so realistic, and it's something that we don't really have in any of the other worlds. And unfortunately, we don't have that terrain paint. But I feel like that's probably not a surprise because the Sims team have a good tendency to give us the most beautiful world with this beautiful terrain paint and then not include it in the build and buy menu. Which also, actually, that reminds me, we got a new pack coming out next week, which is the Sims 4 Werewolves game pack. I realised that I didn't speak about this at all last week. I don't know why. I always do my voiceovers in the day. I mean, if you have been here for a while, you know this anyway, but I always do my voiceovers in the day, just in case there's anything, you know, like new and interesting to talk about in terms of like if we're getting any new kits or any... I forgot. And in all fairness, last week I was doing a base game build, and so I didn't want to do a base game build and then talk about a new DLC coming out, because if you're someone that is very interested in just base game, do you know what I mean? So I didn't mention it last week, but yeah, there is a new game pack coming out next week, next Thursday, I believe, and there is an official Sims 4 Werewolves live stream going up tonight. I have a feeling this video is either going to go up around about an hour before or maybe during the live stream. Either way, there is going to be a live stream, and I'm eager to find out more about it because I didn't really know what I expected from Sims 4 Werewolves. I just know that I expect them to be very good because the way that the Sims 4 do occults, it is so good. Like, you've got to think of vampires and the different tier system and the different perks that you get and different routes that you can be as a vampire. You're not just like a slapdash, you're a vampire. You can be a good vampire, you can be a bad vampire. The same goes for spellcasters. It's not like, alright, whip-did-woo, you've got a wand now, you can do magic, you can fly on a broom. It's a little bit more in-depth than that. It's like, you can either, you know, specialise in making potions or specialise in, like, I can't remember what it's called, but, you know, like naughty magic, when you just do naughty things. Or you could be someone that is very good at practical magic. And I have high expectations, basically, for this new game pack because I'm really hoping that we're going to be getting a tier system like what we have from Realm of Magic and the Vampires game pack, because like the bar is high, it is very high for it, and yeah, I'm really excited. I didn't think I would be as excited as what I am. I also wasn't sure at first about how the werewolves were looking because I think it was the nose. Like, there was something about it. Like, at first I saw a werewolf and I was like, oh, I'm not too sure about that one. But now I've actually looked at it a little bit more. I don't know how the Sims team would change them to make them look a little bit more werewolfy, because the werewolves that we know is like Sims 3. You look at a Sims 3 werewolf, completely different to what we are meant to be getting in the Sims 4 werewolves. So I don't know, I'm excited for it, and I can't really tell you about it because the live stream's not happened yet, but I'll talk about it next week because, of course, I will be sitting down and doing a build using all the new packs in the new world, because I'm assuming anyway we're getting a new world with this new game pack, and yeah, I'll talk about it then. But anyway, getting back and actually talking about this build. So as you can see, I've already moved on into the back garden. Now, where is the, like, a bit of an higgledy-piggledy 30 by 20? And what I mean by that is, you know, when you think of a 30 by 20, normally it's a longer house and it's got quite a big, nice, spacious back garden. Whereas this is like a 30 by 20 higgledy-piggledy one where it's 30 by 20, but it's 30 widthways instead of lengthways. And so sometimes doing gardens on this size of a lot can be quite difficult because, you know, you've got space either side of the house, but it's like not enough space to make up a garden. But it actually worked out really nicely in this one. So where I wanted to focus on like eco lifestyle and, you know, like all the different aspects of that expansion pack, I decided to separate the garden into 2 different sections. So the one that you can just see me, I was just doing, it's now moved off screen, but the one that you just saw me do with the little like bug huts in, basically that's the garden that I imagine is going to be the more environment based garden. So in there we have the water catcher, we also have some like grubs and crickets, and there's also like a little beekeeping box, there's also a flower arranging table, but then there is also a more of a family kind of garden. So what I mean by that is, you got your barbecue, you got your seating area, there's a nice little swing set underneath a tree. It's actually really pretty. Like, I've already come in and taken the screenshots, and the screenshots for not even just the back garden, the whole entire house, but especially the swing set underneath the tree that I use, it's very picturesque. But we just have kind of like the general family kind of gameplay in one garden, and then we have more of the eco lifestyle focused stuff in the other garden. And also, by the way, I did debate, the recycling machine when your Sims can recycle stuff, I did debate putting that in the eco garden. I'm just going to call it the eco garden, hopefully you know what I mean. But basically it's a bit dirty, and with the water catcher there's 2 versions of them. There's one that's a little bit more like old and it's a little bit more like worn down, and then there is like a newer fresher one. Maybe they've just popped to, I don't know where you buy one from, B&Q, let's say. Probably not B&Q. A lot of people that don't have B&Q in their country are going to be really confused, but a store that you would buy one from, it looks like it's been freshly purchased from some kind of like hardware-y kind of eco shop, whatever it's called. Basically with the recycling machine, that's not the case. There is only one version of it, and it's a bit dirty, and it's got like all like, it looks like food on the sides of it, and it's not very nice to look at. So I didn't include it in the back garden, but there is more than enough space that if you want to, you can include it in if it doesn't bother you. I also didn't include the candle making station because, again, it looks weird. It doesn't look grubby, that one, it just looks a bit weird, especially in the garden. But the thing is, with this house, you can download it, and then depending on what kind of activities you want your Sims to play through, if you do actually want to have a Sim playing in the civil designer career, that is the one that came with the eco lifestyle expansion pack, if you do want your Sim to play through that, and you also want to kind of play through the expansion, you can kind of just pick and choose what kind of activities you want to add in, because there's plenty enough space for it. But I don't know, it just didn't look that nice. But anyway, getting on and talking about what I'm doing right now. So as you can see, I've now moved on into the inside of this house, and I started off with the hallway. Now, I did something which I'm actually quite proud of in the hallway. So don't get me wrong, it's nothing like extravagant. I'm sure people have probably done it before, but I rotated a mirror, so it was kind of like leaning up on a side table, but the mirror that I rotated is meant to be one that's like stuck to the wall. To be honest, thinking about it, I might have actually done it myself before, but just kind of forgotten about it. But either way, it's a mirror that is meant to be like, like a standalone mirror. Your Sim is meant to like check out their outfit before they go to work or school or wherever they're going to. But basically, I wanted the inside of this house, the furniture, the kind of general kind of gist of it, to match the exterior. So on the exterior, it's very like wood paneling. There is also a lot of black, a bit of grey, and then also quite a lot of white. I wanted to keep that on the exterior, but then when you're moving on to the interior, I didn't want it to be like completely stark white and cream and look a little bit too clinical, because sometimes I feel like when you do modern builds, you more so go towards the white colour kind of palette, but then sometimes you just feel like you're in a doctor's office or something. I didn't want that to be the case. I wanted it to be a little bit like, I don't want to say like dark and moody, but that kind of like dark and moody kind of modern interior. A little bit masculine, if you want to put it that way. I basically wanted that to be the interior, and I wanted there to be a mirror on the side table, but there was none that were the right like kind of like shape and size for what I wanted. And so basically what I did is I just found this little side table. The one that I've used is from Dream Home Decorator, and then I also found this mirror which was the correct size and shape that I wanted. The one that I use, I think, is from Discover University. The first swatch in it might be a bit deceiving, because the first swatch in the catalogue, I'm pretty sure, is green, and it's got like a load of stickers on it, because it's meant to be in like a dorm room or something. But there is 2 plain swatches. I think there's a plain white one, a plain black one. There's definitely a plain black one, because it's the one that I've used. But I basically just got that and then raised it up, and then using the tool mod, I just rotated it 5 degrees so it looks like it's leaning on the little side table, and it just works out. So I was really happy with that. But yeah, anyway, besides the point, moving on, as you can see, I've now moved on into the next area, which is the very open kitchen and dining room. Recently, I feel like I've entered a phase where I just love an open plan kitchen and dining space. I know that I did it last week when I built a massive, I say massive, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I built a very big base game Mediterranean house in Oasis Springs, and I did a really big open plan kitchen and dining space, and I absolutely loved the way that one turned out. And I pretty much did the same kind of open planness in this build. I think I also did something quite similar a few weeks back. It might have been a month ago. I built an Italian family home, and I'm pretty sure that was quite open plan as well. Now, I'm only pointing it out because normally I'm someone that likes to have different closed off rooms depending on what kind of room it is. So I normally like to have a separate kitchen. It will probably have an archway going into a dining room, but I normally like there to be like a separate dining room space. But I don't know, recently I've just entered this phase and I just really like doing open plan kind of bigger rooms like this. I think they're quite easy for gameplay. That is one like kind of benefit of them. Plus I feel like with modern builds, it makes sense because a lot of modern interiors are quite open plan anyway. But for the kitchen, you would have seen I decided to go for the cool kitchen stuffed counters. Now, something that it might annoy you, it annoys me a little bit, but you can't really do much about it, and I can't do much about it. The cabinets and the counters, although they look like they're two different swatches, believe me, I triple checked, if not more. They're the exact same swatch, but for some reason, when you put the cabinets, I was about to say when you put them on the wall, whenever you just pull out the cabinets and the counters and you put them together, you'll notice they're completely different swatches. I say completely different. The cabinets seem to be like a shade or two lighter than the counters, which really annoys me. But the thing is, I wanted to use that swatch of the counters because, it goes with the rest of the house. I was debating between them ones and the ones that we got from Spa Day. But there's just something about the Spa Day ones, they're a bit off. Do you know what I mean by that? They're too curvy. There's a lot of curves in them. I don't like the handles of them. And they're not my favourite counters, and so I decided to use the cool kitchen ones. But I did want to point out that the cabinets and the counters, they are like a shade or two in colour difference. Trust me, I checked so many times. Even when I came around to playtesting the house, which by the way, the house has been playtested, everything works fine. Do you know what? I didn't run into a single problem, which is so nice. Because sometimes when you're building with moved objects on, sometimes you might place something a little bit too close to the wall, or it might be a little bit too close to another object, and all you have to do is just like scoot it over like a centimetre or something, and then it works. But when I came around to playtesting this house, I didn't run into a single problem, which is, it's just really nice, isn't it? It's just nice to not have to scoot something over and then go back into like live live mode, however you say it, and then test it again. And everything works. So if you do want to download it, you're not going to run into any problems. But I did just want to mention that about the counters. When I came around to playtesting it, I checked it again, and they're the complete same swatch. For some reason, they were just designed just a little bit in colour difference. But either way, as you would have seen, in the kitchen open dining space, there's also like a really big dining room table. It's right at the front of the house as well, so you just kind of like look on to the front garden. And now you can see that I've moved on into the home office, and I'm actually just going around and finishing it up. But this home office, I'm so happy with the way it turned out. So that big machine in the corner is what is the fabricator. So if you're not familiar with the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack, maybe you've never played it before, whatever, basically that object, your Sims can, long story short, create their own furniture, which is just so cool, like, if you think about it, because there is so many different build and buy items that come from that fabricator that are not in the normal build and buy. So say if you want to go and furnish the inside of a house and you have a certain amount of like armchairs to pick from, a certain amount of beds or whatever, if you get your sim to use that machine, they can create custom furniture and custom decorations that are not in the normal build and buy menu. You can access them if you use cheats, like the debug cheat, you can find them that way. But in the normal build and buy, they're kind of like hidden, and so they kind of feel like a little bit of treasure. Like when you're actually in gameplay and you get your sim to actively make a bit of furniture, it's like the woodworking table, but like 10 times better. When you get your sim to actively make something and you get them to dye it a certain colour, because the way that it works is basically it uses a thing called bits and pieces, which is pretty much like a bit of currency in The Sims 4. So you know how we've got simoleons? With the Eco Lifestyle expansion pack, there's kind of like a new currency, which is bits and pieces. Now, in my experience, I don't know how you get them apart from recycling stuff, because there's a recycling machine, you can get your Sims to recycle things, and you get bits and pieces from that. I'm pretty sure you can find other bits and pieces if you possibly rummage through the bin. If I'm thinking about it, you can rummage through the bin and maybe if you like dumpster dive, but apart from that they're quite hard to get your Sims hands on. But basically if you have enough of these bits and pieces, and then you also have some fabric dyes, your Sims can make custom furniture. It's honestly, it's such a nifty item, and it's just, it feels a little bit rewarding when you get your Sim to actively get this kind of like foreign kind of currency, if you want to put it that way, and then also they get to choose the colour of the furniture that they're making throughout the dyes. Honestly, it's such a cool feature. I need to use it more often, but that is in the home office, as well as a little art easel that I placed in the corner. Now I was more so thinking the art easel was kind of like a sketching pad. Now I was thinking the Sim that lives in this house, or like one of them, I was thinking that maybe instead of drawing something down on a tablet or something like that, they kind of like to do it on an art easel. So they'll sketch out how they maybe want their next bed to look like, or how they want the next armchair that they're going to make to look like. They'll kind of like paint it on the art easel, and then they'll create it in the fabricator. I just like that idea. And then I also placed down actually a little desk, which is from Dream Home Decorator. Don't think I've used it that often. You can just about see it in the corner of the screen, but it's this desk that's got all these different like rulers and all these things to measure different angles on them, and it just fits in so perfectly with the office. So I placed that down, and then using the debug cheat, I went through and found loads of little like tape measures and little individual pencils and just stuff that you would have in your workspace if you was, you know, if you was a civil designer. And so I placed them down onto the desk and kind of like cluttered it up, made it feel a little bit more realistic, and I'm just so happy with the way that that home office came together. It's honestly one of my favourite ones I've ever done. But as well as that, as you would have seen, I also did just do the lounge space downstairs. That space ended up being absolutely enormous. So I don't know how it ended up being as big as what it is, but I say that it's because I made it as big as what it is on the outside, because it looks nice with the way that the roof falls and whatever. But it was just such a big space and I didn't know what to do with it. But in the end, what is the solution when you've got a massive space and you don't know what to do with it in a lounge? You just make a sectional sofa, and you make it so you can make the sofa as big as you want, and it makes sense because it's not like loads of different armchairs all piled together. The Dream Home Decorator game pack honestly has saved me so many different times since we've had it for doing really big spaces and you don't know what to fill it out with. Basically, I just used a black sofa and I made it so it like curves round on one end, and then on the other end your Sims can lounge in it, and then in the middle I just plopped down like a big fluffy rug and then a little coffee table, and then I also actually made like a bit of like a custom coffee table for the TV unit. So the TV unit is sitting on some Dream Home Decorator. They're meant to be coffee tables, but I kind of like moved them together. I say moved them, they actually snap together, which is really useful sometimes, but also real pain sometimes when they snap together. You'll see what I mean when we move on into the parents' bedroom. But I basically use these coffee tables and then I merge them together, and then I use the red shelf, which if you're not familiar with the red shelf, and I haven't actually mentioned it in a while, but the red shelf is basically a bit of CC where I can put something onto it and then move it to the exact height that I want it. Because sometimes when you're using move objects and you're using the 9 and 0 key to move things up and down, sometimes there's a little bit of a gap, sometimes things are floating or they're going too far into the thing that you're trying to place them onto. Basically, the red shelf, you can snap it onto the red shelf and then move it to the exact height that you want the item to be. I've had it in my game for literal years at this point, and I honestly don't know what I would do without it. But using the little red shelf, I was able to merge in loads of different like magazines and CD covers and loads of different things that I was imagining could be possible, like DVDs, which I remember when I was building this, I was thinking back to, you know, The Sims 3. I don't know if you play Sims 3. Either way, in The Sims 3, we had this one decorational kind of like clutter piece that you could place. It was a freestanding DVD rack, and I used to use it all the time in pretty much every single lounge, living room space. To be honest, I think I just used it in like just general hallway clutter space as well, because it was just, I just loved that. And we don't have anything like that in The Sims 4. Like, we don't have anything that are meant to be like DVDs. We have one little like CD thing that is meant to be like CDs for music, but we don't really have any DVD covers. But then I guess The Sims 3, it came out in what, 2009, and you know, streaming services weren't as popular as what they are now. They were still around. Did you know, by the way, Netflix came out, I'm pretty sure it came out the year before I was born, and I was born in 98. I'm 23 years old. That's how long Netflix has been about. But it wasn't the thing. People had DVDs, and I mean, I've still got VHS tapes somewhere. I've still got like old VHS tapes. I'm pretty sure I've got the Harry Potters on VHS. Either way, it wasn't the norm like to have a streaming service back in The Sims 3, and so we used to have this DVD clutter, and I really hope that one day we can just get a clutter kit or a clutter stuff pack. Doubt it though, because stuff packs seem to be no more, but I want to one day maybe get something that we could pretend to be DVDs, or maybe some more CDs or something, because I don't know, it's just really good clutter, especially for lounge spaces, and especially actually if you want to make like a little movie room, like a home cinema or something, that would be so ideal. But anyway, besides the point, as you can see, I've now moved on to the upstairs of this build, and I've already done the bathroom. Now, one thing I do want to point out, when I came around to taking the screenshots, I really didn't like the way that the curtains were looking in the bathroom. You would have noticed I used some grey curtains, and kind of, they're the ones that look like they've been pinned back. It weren't working, so I just replaced it with a blind. But in the bathroom, as you would have seen, I made a custom shower. I've said about this before, but I don't really like the showers that we have in the game. A few of them are alright, but I don't know, I think it's because they've kind of got an automatic backsplash in the shower, and sometimes I might be decorating, I don't know, I don't, but maybe I'm decorating a red and blue bathroom. I've never done that, but say for instance I am, and then I'm trying to pick out a shower and then the backsplash is like green or something. Like, it's just, I always prefer to make my custom showers if I can. Sometimes I ain't got space for it, but in this particular build I did have space for it, so you would have noticed that this house has its own little custom shower area. But then you also would have seen that I have done one of the bedrooms already. The bedroom that I've already done, I'm not joking, probably the weirdest floor plan for a bedroom that I've ever done. Basically, when I came round to doing the wallpapering and the flooring, which I always do off camera, originally it was going to be 2 different rooms. Originally it was going to be a really small 3x3, or like, I think it was like 9 tiles in total, bedroom space, and then it had an ensuite which was bigger than the bedroom, but it would have made no sense, and the only way that you could get to the bathroom, like the ensuite, was through the bedroom. And so originally it was going to be like a bedroom and a bathroom. It weren't working out, and so I decided to delete the wall in between them and just make it into this really weirdly shaped bedroom. Do you know what though, and I'm not joking, probably one of my favourite kids rooms that I've done in a while, because the way that I kind of like sectioned it out, you kind of walk through and you're already in like the play area. You've got the doll's house, you've got the drawing table, you've also got that big foot thing that we got from the most recent kit, the little campers kit. It's like a new teddy bear. I placed that in there, and then you kind of like walk through, it's like a little bit of an alley, kind of like hallway in the bedroom, and that's where you've got the bed, and then you've also got like a little chest of drawers space. I really like it, and also I really like the way that I decorated it as well. But as you would have seen, I just quickly did another bedroom, which was the teenager's bedroom. The teenager's bedroom ends up being bigger than the parents' bedroom, which I've now moved on to, but me personally, in gameplay, I know it sounds a bit horrible to the parents, but I'd rather the teenager have a bigger bedroom because they're a little bit more exciting, if you know what I mean. So the teenager in this house has a bigger bedroom, but of course you can do whatever you want with it. Once you download it off the gallery, you can change the bedrooms around and whatnot. But now you can see that I'm just focusing on this little kind of like built-in wardrobe unit for the parents' bedroom. Now this is what I mean by like the pieces of furniture that like snap together. Sometimes it's really useful, but sometimes it can be quite fiddly, because basically I wanted there to be a custom like clothes rail, but when I was trying to place the clothes onto it, they were snapping to like a certain height, and it was a bit fiddly. But I got there in the end, and now you can see that I'm just going around, basically just finishing the house off. I'm just clutching up this little shelving unit which is in the hallway, loads of different like bookcases and little structures of things, and I end up placing down, I'm pretty sure, a little side table with a lamp on, and then maybe possibly a mirror, and that is basically it. So anyway guys, I'm going to end this voiceover right here. So as always, you can download this build via the gallery. My origin ID is JessicapieYT, or you can just search for the hashtag JessicapieYT or just the hashtag Jessicapie. As always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and as always, if you do like my content, then please do subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next Sims 4 speedbuilding video. Bye guys!